Champions Mojo is part of the CG Sports Network.
Welcome to Champions Mojo, a podcast to bring out your inner champion. Your hosts are sisters-in-law Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker. Kelly is a former Division I head swim coach, Olympic trials qualifier, and holds national and world records in masters swimming. Maria holds world records in endurance cycling and won the world's toughest bike race, Race Across America. Both are certified health and life coaches. Our goal is to inspire you through conversations with champions. And now, your host, Kelly Pallas.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Champions Mojo podcast. And as usual, I am co-hosting with Maria Parker. Hello, Maria.
Hi, Kelly. Good to be here today.
Yes. Well, we want to give our guest a thorough introduction in a moment. But first, let's welcome him to the show. Sergio Lopez Miro, welcome to Champions Mojo.
Oh,
Welcome.
thank you very much.
Welcome,
Thanks for
Coach.
having me.
Yeah, we are thrilled to have you. So it is our tremendous honor today that we are going to chat with this true champion, both as an athlete and a coach. Our guest, Sergio Lopez Miro, has one of the most diverse and deep swimming resumes in the sport of swimming. First, starting out as a swimmer himself, he earned a bronze medal in the 1988 Olympic Games in the 200-meter breaststroke. And next, Sergio began building an amazing swimming coaching resume, having many athletes on the Olympic level and swimmers that have earned Olympic gold medals. In fact, besides Joseph Schooling, his swimmer for Singapore in the Olympics who won gold, he had 4 other swimmers in the Olympic Games in 2016 in the top 4. Maria, can you share a little bit more about these swimmers and about Sergio's coaching career?
Sure, Kelly. Prior to Sergio's current position as the head men's and women's swim coach at Virginia Tech, he either headed up or served in a large capacity in the success of the Singapore national team, Auburn University, West Virginia University, Northwestern University, and the prestigious Bowl School, coaching such greats as Ryan Murphy, Joseph Schooling, Caleb Dressel, and Santo Condorelli. So now let's get to it and chat with Coach Sergio.
Yes.
Sergio, it's good.
Okay.
Sergio. So again, Maria, here we are, a couple of girls born and raised in Virginia.
Yep.
So we are thrilled to speak with the Virginia Tech coach who we've had requests, get Sergio on your show. So here he is. So Sergio, let's start out by telling us what is happening at Virginia Tech right now with the pandemic, your training, competing. How's it going?
I think it's going pretty well. I think my attitude has always been to always look at the positives of the negatives, and that's the type of team that we're trying to have. And we're making the best out of any opportunity. I think we have a very good athletic director and a good president in the school. I think their leadership has shown, at least in my field or in our department, and we've been able to have a consistent training and we've been able to do a very good job, I think, for the kids. Recruiting, we thought it was going to be hard. It's hard because the kids cannot come, but the kids, the recruits have made their choice to come with their parents. We haven't seen them or anything, but we've got huge commitments. So I think making the positives out of the negatives has worked very well for us. And I think we're slowly taking steps forward.
Yeah. When you talk about your leadership there at Virginia Tech, just right off the bat, we don't do a whole lot of X's and O's as I think I told you in our prep letter. But what defines good leadership for you in just in general? Like, what is a leader?
Well, I think the bottom line, and maybe it's a cliche, is to be able to empower people to be the best that they can be. And honestly, as a head coach, if you talk about the assistants, for example, the people that work with you, you're going to have people that they're better than you, or they're going to do things that you don't want to do, and empower them to do that. So I think, and that filters down to the team, and the student athletes. I think our job, even though our job is to win, our job is to really help them understand their talent. And I think what we do is try to empower them to feel that, that power that they have, that you felt as a swimmer, that the goosebumps, or when you're taking a shower, that you feel that I had a great practice, but the coach didn't even see me, but I'm so powerful today. And that's the energy and what's going to make you successful as a parent or as a janitor or as an engineer. So I think that's what we're trying to do. Just empower people to be the best that they can be.
I love that really broad answer to that question. How did you learn that?
Well, I think it comes back to when I was a kid. I grew up in a dictatorship in Spain. We had a 40-year dictatorship. It was I was only in the last 10 years of it. Interesting, I'm Catalan, Spanish. I speak Catalan, but I was not allowed to speak Catalan outside of the house. If the police saw you or heard you, they could beat you up or bag you. There was a lot of strange things going on. And then we went into a democracy. But I think everything that boils down to the fact that my father left us when I was 3 years old. And you're talking in a very Catholic society where everybody lives together no matter what. Women didn't have really working power, So my mom was left with 3 kids. And so I grew up, my mom is the biggest example that I have in my life, but she was never home. She was always working, and so she had 3 jobs, and just to pay for the debt or to put us through school. And so I grew up a lot in the street, in Barcelona. And I think Barcelona is a very artistic city, and it's a very, if you have the chance to go, if you've been in Barcelona, you would understand, but if not, you need to go. It has hundreds of years of tradition of jugglers, artists, architects. And I spent a lot of time watching people in the streets, wondering what my life, even between school and training, where was my life going? And I think that made me understand the power that swimming gave me, because I was not a very good swimmer growing up. I was always top 3 from the bottom, So, but I always loved to train, and I think swimming was the thing that made me understand how powerful I was as a person. So, and I became good maybe at the age of 17, and this changed for me big time in the swimming scenario. And I think for me, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a coach, because even though I wanted to be an Olympic champion, it was very far-fetched, it was, no coach believed that I could do anything like that if I don't even qualify for nationals. So then I wanted to coach an Olympic champion. So I think trying to help people understand how powerful swimming have made me feel internally. And because it's a gift that you have, we have so many talents. They get diluted, and whoever is in swimming for so many years, they can understand their talent. And the talent doesn't mean that you're going to be an Olympic champion. The talent is that you can feel happy and you can understand internal success, and how you can build that to be good in school, or to be a good parent, or to be a good friend. So I think that's how I learned it.
Wow, I love that. So Sergio, we obviously are going to have a lot of swimmers listening and swim parents. And so when you're this young swimmer and you're not very good, you didn't get good till you were 17 or 18, what did you tell yourself to get you to be an Olympian, an Olympic medalist nonetheless? What tools did you use to stay in the game, to be patient?
Well, I'll probably cry a lot, and probably, I honestly don't know. It's just I can tell you one thing. My mom told me this when I was 28 years old. When I was 28 years old and I stopped swimming as a professional athlete, and I went back to Spain with my wife to work, and I didn't like the way Spain was going with things. So I decided to sell my house and come to America to start coaching in America. So I spent a month in my mom's house, and I was very sad, very depressed, because there was the first time in my life that I felt that I had no direction. I didn't know what I was going to do. And my mom has always been my example of working hard, never giving up. She asked me one day, said, "Hey, Sergio, why are you so sad?" It's like, you always have a home here. Doesn't matter. You can be 50 years old. This is your home. So where I live, you can always be there, And after living in America, you don't think that way anymore, because once you're a teen, you go out of the house. And many parents don't want to, not me, but many parents don't want their kids back, So she told me, when you were a kid and you trained so hard, you would go to a meet, you would swim really bad. You would cry for 5 minutes, and the next day you would be at the pool. And I didn't understand why, because my mom wasn't an athlete. And said, if my son is doing that, I need to keep working. So she said, even though maybe she just told me that to make me feel good, because that's what we do sometimes with the kids. But she told me that I taught her how to never give up, because I wanted to do something with my swimming, and I was crying and I was not accomplishing what I wanted. But next day I was working hard to be that, So I think, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I think that makes perfect sense. I think as a swimmer who admires you as a coach, that it just shows you can get your inspiration from anywhere. It doesn't have to be, the guy in the next lane or the girl in the next lane or a swim coach. It can be your mother or just, the person that is working hard in the street. You just don't know. So that's a beautiful example, certainly. So in your world there in Virginia Tech, I want to say how I got tuned in to Sergio. Of course, if you're in the swimming world, you know who Sergio is. But recently I became kind of wanted to follow up with you, because I saw you being interviewed after the ACC championships last year when you broke your leg, right? And on the deck, and then you stayed on the deck and finished the meet. You broke it like in the middle of the meet. And so you've just got this mindset of this. When I saw it, I just couldn't believe it, because, I was a coach and a Division I head coach, and I've been to those all week long ACCs, all week long NCAAs for many years. And they are the most grueling on a coach. There's no sleep. There's just, it's high stress. It is a week of your life as a college coach that is just gone. It's like you're giving 100% to your team. So what was your mindset when you went through this painful break and then you had to be on deck and continue, and give us a little bit about how you broke it, what the pain level was, how you got through it. I was mesmerized by your recovery on that.
Well, put it like this, I broke it pretty well, because they had to put 5 screws, a plate, and a zip tie. So what happened was very simple. On the last day of the women's, we were walking in for the mile, and the floor over there is very slippery.
I know.
It's really slippery. And I just walked in front of the girls, and I always wanted to be a gymnast, and now I proved that I couldn't be a gymnast, because I did a full split. And then my ankle went under my leg, and my body went on top of my ankle. So I kind of at that point I was 270 pounds of pure love that went into my ankle. So it just cracked it. It just cracked my fibula, and I thought that, it was okay, so they didn't know if it was broken or not. So I stayed for that session. The following day, the team left, and I was going to stay there anyway, because one day later, the men were coming. So my wife drove up, and she took me to the emergency room on Sunday, and we went to a couple places, and finally, they pretty much told me, you're going to have a surgery because it's broken, So what I did is I could have gone home, but I really felt that I need to stay there. The kids work so hard, and I think if I treated like nothing happened, even though I was a little bit running around with a little moped and sitting most of the time, But I did a lot of meditation and visualization because I don't like medicine, so I didn't take any pain medicine. And I just put my leg up every night, 5 or 6 kilos, and I went through the meet fine. It was kind of hard because I had to stay in a certain place doing warm up. But I think the fact that they see you there, hopefully makes them understand that they can do whatever they need to do. You know? So I came back, and 2 days later, I went to get surgery, and I got surgery, and now I'm walking. Every once in a while, my ankle still pops up, so I leave it, like it gets a little bit inflamed because it's standing on the pool deck a lot. But it's, I can do a lot.
So you're healed up. Gosh,
That's amazing.
You're winning an Olympic bronze medal is a great feat, but I just have to say that's the kind of leadership that, that I'm sure those kids were so inspired. So I had even kind of forgotten that you did it at the women's meet, and then you went through the whole next week of the men's meet like that. So just, yeah, so that's beautiful. So you do meditate, and visualize?
Yeah, we do a lot of meditation and visualization. If you go, now I'm going to publicize my podcast.
Yeah, sure.
If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see I put a couple of them. But since I was a kid, I did a lot of it. And I'll give you another story that I think that's why it works and how I learned about it, what I was doing without nobody telling me. Because as a kid, I was visualizing a lot to be the best in the world, And so in 1987, I was driving my motorcycle going into the city in Barcelona, and I was hit by a car.
Oof.
I was going 130 kilometers per hour, so around 85 miles per hour, but with traffic, And this car came from behind and hit me so hard that I pretty much woke up 5 hours later in the hospital, and I broke my scapula, my bone, and so this was, I think, June 5th or June 6th, and I had European Championships in mid-August. So pretty much the thing that I remember, I was with my arm like this at the hospital, and I asked the doctor if I was going to be able to compete, the typical thing that we ask as athletes, can I? And the guy told me, no way, we're going to have to put a cast through your chest and your arm to keep it like that, And by the time we take the cast, there's going to be 2 or 3 months, you will have a lot of atrophy, in your arm, and this nerve is going to be in bad condition, So I told him not to cast me. I called my mom finally because they couldn't find me. There were no cell phones. I called my mom, and I was like, they were worried because I didn't go to practice. I didn't show up to practice. And so she picked me up and she took me to the doctors that I had in my swim team. They're very good orthopedic doctors, genius. And they told me the same thing, but they told me that instead of putting a cast, they would wrap me up, very tightly. That I will have less atrophy, that for sure I wasn't going to be able to go to European Championships, but that I would recover quicker, and the nerve would be less affected. But that they would have to check it once a week or twice a week to make sure there was tight enough. So don't ask me how, I got, I used to have one of those yellow Walkmans things, and I got two songs, and one I visualized like how I was, a dweller, like somebody, so I was doing that to my scapula because they showed me the X-ray. So I was visualizing how I was fixing my scapula.
You're welding your bones.
Yeah, welding my bones. And the second one, I visualized my race. My best time was 2:19, and with my coach, we were working on 2:16.5. So I visualized my race, and I, stroke by stroke, and with a stopwatch, and I, try to get my splits that I wanted. Around 4 weeks after I was doing all this, and I was working my legs too, because I couldn't sweat a lot. I had to be careful, but 4 weeks into that, or 4.5 weeks, I went to my doctor and I told him, I think I'm healed. I can feel this. And it's like, Sergio. They did an X-ray and they said that I was fine. So then I told the federation that I wanted to go to Europeans, but he said, no, Sergio, you can't. In 4 weeks, you don't have to. They said, if in 2 weeks at Catalan championships, at the regional championships, you can go 2:20, we'll take you. So I got in the water. I was swimming with one arm, but I went to the meet. I went to 20, and then they took me to Europeans. And 2 weeks later, I went to 16:51, the exact time that I was visualizing. So I've always done that. Try to learn. We do a lot of visualization, meditation with all my teams, underwater, above the water, outside the pool. So I try to teach them how to breathe through the diaphragm and how to use colors and different things and how to move their energy. Some of them think that I'm a little bit crazy, that maybe I'm smoking some pot or something. but I think it works very well.
I absolutely love the visualization of a welder welding your bones together. That's such a powerful image. And so, of course, it was happening while you were visualizing it. It's just beautiful.
I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think you're going to get sick, you will get sick. But if you get sick, it's okay. It's just like do the best, embrace it and get it out. One of the things that we try when we visualize, we use colors. You breathe through the diaphragm, bring like at one point you bring some sort of like light, bright energy below your navel. There's one of the centers where you have a lot of energy. And then when you exhale everything out dark, negative. And then you do that 4 or 5 times, deep breathing, and then you go into your leg. If there's any pain in your leg or your knee or whatever, you bring positive yellow energy or white energy into that leg, and then you exhale everything negative. And if you do that, you feel so grounded and so good that after that, it really helps you. It's like, and if it helps the process of healing, I really believe so. I haven't done a lot of meditation or this, just when I teach them. But when I broke my ankle at the hotel room at night, I did a lot of breathing exercises, exhaling the pain of the broken thing, because it wasn't really, it was just rat happening, and I went through the whole meeting without taking one single pain medicine. And I'm not a very strong person, you know what I mean? If you pinch me, I'll be like, ah.
So you use meditation, and you teach this to your athletes as well. Can you tell me what else is in your bag of tricks for creating these incredibly successful athletes? And do they absorb it all?
I think so. I think, for example, the meditation exercise. I used to coach Mike Rivers. And when I was at Northwestern and people like that, if you get those guys to buy into, we do meditation underwater and you can feel what's going on, and you induce yourself to a certain stage. You can see the best stroke possible. You have all these coaches and all these biomechanics. There's such technicians and put the hand in the ankle. But if you calm somebody's body and mind down and allow them just to go through the water the way they can feel it better, you can make some corrections, but they're gonna swim really well. And I really think that's the key. Sometimes we worry too much about swimming fast and pushing and getting so strong, but we don't understand how to move. Like, for example, nowadays, if like this year, I had one of the postgrad kids that came to train with me. Is training because and I'm not saying anything. I'm just watching. And he goes up to Albert after 3 or 4 weeks. It's like, why is Sergio not correcting my stroke? And I'm like, and Albert told him, saying, look. And then I told the kid too, it's like, Sergio will not correct your stroke until he understands how you move through the water and how you do things. Because, it doesn't make any sense to tell you, catch the water this way if you cannot feel. You know what I mean? And he needs to understand how you move. That's what he told me, and that's what he does with people. And that's the way I coach.
I love that. So obviously you've been around all these amazing champions. What do you see as a commonality among the best?
Well, they hate to lose. Some of them have a very dark side, but we all have a dark side. We all have as I told you before, we're as dysfunctional as our neighbor, but it's how you learn how to control that dark side, but they can be very harsh, it's like very hard people, and I think that's not, how do you call it? That's not, people think when we talk about those things, it's like, it's a negative thing. It's not a negative. It's a positive thing. You can embrace it and utilize it, But I would say that they're very selfish, driven, hate to lose, and they can be obnoxious sometimes.
Is that a obnoxiousness based around intensity for their goals, or what?
Well, maybe obnoxious is not the right word, but they can be. They can come across like as bad people sometimes. Makes sense? Like, yeah. But it's just because the drive that they have to be excellent, and it's how you help them manage that, and help them understand that it's okay, don't lose that, but sometimes you can be like that to somebody next to you that has nothing to do with your success, Yeah. And that's the hard part, I think we talk about mental health issues nowadays more than anything else, and I think we're correct, but mental health issues have been forever,
Right.
And we can name so many world-class athletes. Being a world-class at anything is very dangerous, and you don't have to be world-class. You can be the best summer league swimmer in your neighborhood. In the moment that you lose ownership of who you are, because your parents, your neighbors, your this, your that, you start having issues because you don't trust who you are, you doubt about it. And today I don't go this fast. People are disappointed. And that's the hard part. So when you put that into somebody who has that drive, it's a very volatile combination.
Can you give an example of someone that you've coached who's, has this sort of dark power that you've helped, manage it and they've become happier or more successful?
Well, Kevin Cordes, Ryan Murphy, Santo Condorelli, all these guys. Kelly Dressel. I wasn't primary coach of Kelly Dressel, so I have to say that. My assistant, Jason, was his primary coach because he didn't go to school at Bowles, but he was a member of the team. So the first couple of years, I think, he practiced 3 to 4 months in the summer with my group, because we had to listen to them. But, I know Caleb very well because of other reasons, And I will never say that I was his coach in high school, but my assistant was his primary coach, Jason. But all of them have a very hard side, makes sense? And to give you examples would be kind of like, I'm sure. But for example, Joseph Schooling is training with me right now, and I coached Joseph since he was 12 years old until he went to Texas, And when his father brought him to Bowles, the deal was that I was going to help him be a gentleman, and then be an Olympic champion. That was his goal, And when the kids are Bowles, I think, we talk about Joseph and this, but from my group, I think in 7.5 years, 210 swimmers went to college, 210, So there's a relationship with so many people, makes sense. But I always knew that I was a person to create a product in an objective way, a product for somebody else to take it to the next level. Makes sense? Because I was a high school coach. And I never wanted to coach them. No, I don't want to say that. I always wanted to coach them, if I could. But once they're gone, they're gone. They're not your swimmers anymore. They can be friends. So I never asked any one of those guys to come and train with me. But I was having conversations this past summer, not this summer, like a while back, with Joseph. And I said, look, I know I can help you because you need to realize certain things. It's not so much about the training, but as a person that you and me know, and we can work together. And that's why he's here. It's nothing bad. It's just not for swimming. It's just for his own life, because he became an Olympic champion. And a lot of people criticize him because maybe he's not swimming as fast. But probably because they're just jealous. When you're an Olympic champion, you always will be an Olympic champion. But he has 1 billion people, 1 billion people, more famous than Michael Phelps probably, in Southeast Asia, idolizing him and expecting things. And when you lose ownership of who you are at that level, it's so hard. You have to learn how to ground yourself again, and if you want to have a healthy life. And that's why I asked Joseph, hey, you need to think about coming and training with us at Virginia Tech and Blacksburg. And you're going to give up being in Singapore, a great city, to being in Blacksburg, another great city, you know what I mean? So that's, but I think it will be kind of hard to give an example because people will take it in the wrong way.
Right.
And all those guys are amazing. They have great hearts, but they deal with their internal things differently. And some of it, if you work with them, any coach will, if all the coaches will write books or will write something really open, with an open mind about how they have to deal with internal things of certain of the top swimmers, it would be an amazing book, I think, because there's some very interesting stuff.
Well, I know mental health of both coaches and athletes is one of your passions. So right now in this strange time, pandemic, NCAA's canceled last year. We don't know what's happening yet with 2021 and the vaccine and all that. What advice, Sergio, would you give to people out there who may have a wedding planned? They're training for Olympic trials. The future is uncertain. What advice would you give to getting through this?
I think the advice would be, the future is not uncertain because the thing is very simple. We're born, we live, and we die. It's as simple as that. And life is more simple than we make it. Now, yes, the fact that you cannot go to an Olympic might be disappointing, but you had an amazing career and you have a beautiful life in front of you. And if your life only lasts one more year because the world disappears, let's make the best of it. You know what I mean? And that's important. If you cannot have a wedding and you're truly in love with your partner and this and that, do you think that matters? No, because you're going to be with that person for the next 4 years of your life. If you truly are with the right person. So who cares about postponing it 1 year, 2 years, or whatever it is? You have that person next to you. You know what I mean? That you cannot have Christmas with your parents because you're in college or whatever. We have most of our foreign athletes are not going home, and it's their own choice for Christmas. Why? Because they don't want to risk not being able to compete. If they come back and they test positive and this and that, they're in a bubble right now, and they're like, and it's okay. There's going to be many more Christmas in life. So just be positive and look at the good that you have in your life and embrace that. Embrace those moments and just keep plugging along.
So
at the end of the world.
So if it seems like you've thought a lot about this, so I want you to answer this question. We asked what makes a champion in swimming, and you gave a great answer, but I think you must have thought about what makes a champion in life. What makes a good life, a well-lived life?
I think probably I would say one of the most important things is really understanding, because we live in a society more and more that everything is about perception. Perception of how successful we are. The parents, you want the kids to go to the best schools. And it is because it's a reflection. You think it's a reflection. I think when people really learn to understand that, I have this, I think I put it even in hashtags. Success is a state of mind. And the bottom line is that when I go to bed, I've been with my wife for 30 years. But when I go to bed at 1. I close my eyes at 1. And whatever thoughts they go here, they're my thoughts, and I need to be in peace with those. Make sense? So that I don't win like, for example, my goal, I wanted to always win an NCAA championship, with the team. But right now, for example, if I stop swimming coaching today, I will never look back. You know what I mean? Because I feel that I can look at the positives of my life, and keep moving forward, and, you know what I mean? So I think that would be the bottom line. Success is a state of mind, and accept, if you work very hard for something and doesn't happen, you can cry for 5 minutes, make the best out of that situation, and keep moving up.
I love that.
That's beautiful. You're reminding me, we're going to ask you later what your favorite Star Wars character is, and mine's Yoda. So I'm going to nickname you Yoda, Sergio. I love Yoda. So in the interest of time, our last question that we ask you before we do a couple of fun rounds is there anything that we have not asked you that you would like to share with our listeners?
No, I think for the parents, they're listening, just to make sure that you don't live your dreams through your kids. Just empower them to be the best they can be, and I guess you have to. Your children only expect unconditional love, and that's an important thing. I think my mom always told me that, I thought she told me that because I was a menace to society, and I did some pretty interesting stuff. So I was in trouble a lot. Even though I never missed practice, I did everything else that you can imagine. And she always told me, said, Sergio, your kids will come to this world to teach you about yourself. And if you think about it, and when you have children, if you really want to have children, because some people have children and they don't want to have them, and then that's a bigger problem. But you have children and you watch them, the way they move, the way they talk, and you see yourself in them, and you're like, oh crap, how can I figure this out so my daughter or my son don't go through the same pain that I went through, and I can help them manage this anger or think this way, or instead of like push them down, instead of like, don't do this, don't do that. And I think that would be one thing for the parents, empower your kids, love them unconditionally, and allow them to be with direction who they want to be. For the athletes, I would say, just never give up, like just stay the course. You will know at the end if it was meant to be or not. And that sounds very cliche, and people say, meant to be. But at the end of the day, life goes on, and your career is going to be over at one point. And when they're going to be our age, what they're going to remember is not the Olympic medal. Like if you ask me where my medal is, I couldn't tell, because it's somewhere in a box, somewhere in my house. I never wanted to put anything in my house, so I wouldn't condition my kids to be Olympians. So it's like just work as hard as you can. Be honest, with the effort that you make. Like every day, if you want to be a swimmer, give you 100%. And I always tell the kids, if you're 100% today out of 10 is a 7, just give a 7. And if it's a 5, give a 5. That's the only thing that you can do today. That's the only thing you do. And if you do that, there's nothing else you can do in life. That would be, I guess, very long to advise.
I love that.
That's great advice.
Yeah, I love that. That, if you can only give a 7 today, that's your 100% today. Because Maria, you and I as athletes, we think it has to be a 10 every day. And if it's not, then you walk away defeated. But thinking, today I can only give a 7. I love it all. But okay, we have a sprinter round of fun questions, and then we're going to get you out of here. It's just to have our listeners get to know you a little bit better. So give us some quick answers here. All right. Cat or dog? Red or blue?
Blue.
Milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Both.
Kickboard or no kickboard?
Both.
Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Football or baseball?
None.
None? iPhone or Android?
Oh, droid.
Yay! Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning person or night owl?
I love the night. I love
Okay. Favorite color?
blue.
Favorite pizza topping?
Oof. I love food, so it's very hard to say because I would love a seafood pizza or a meat lovers pizza or a pizza with anchovies. Oh, it's like, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Favorite vegetable?
None.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Favorite swim complex in the U.S.?
Ooh. I would say maybe because I swum there many times. Texas. You know,
Okay, cool.
even though there are better ones, I guess. But
Something on your pre-race playlist? Do you listen to music? And if so, what's a song?
yeah, like one of the songs that I use for meditation is from. I like a lot of piano music or like David Lance. So they have different songs, and I'm very bad. I don't listen to music for the words, so I don't really even know the names of the songs, even though I've listened to them for 30 years. Because I just listen to the rhythm of the voice or the rhythm of the piano or whatever it is. But David Lance, we use it a lot. If you look at the music from August Rush, the movie August Rush, that is a movie that I use with the kids to make them understand swimming. It's very good music. So yeah, there's a lot of music. Music is music depends on what it can touch you and make you feel different emotions. So it's very hard to say.
What's your shoe size?
14.
Any siblings?
2 older sister and a younger brother.
Your favorite Star Wars character?
I will have to say Yoda, but this is a funny thing. I've never seen a full movie of Star Wars. I always fall asleep. Star Wars, Harry Potter, and all those movies, I've never seen a full movie. I always fall asleep.
Yeah, you might not be getting enough sleep. That might be some coaching thing.
I don't know.
Can you cook?
Yes.
Okay, last one. What word do you want to come to mind when your swimmers dive into the water? What do you want your swimmers to be thinking as they dive into the water?
Oh, that's very good. And I would think when we talk about it, it's about being one with the water. It's just feel it, and when we talk about a strategy of the race, it's not about a strategy on time. It's about how you feel when, and we can even talk about music. A lot of the swimmers are very good musicians. They play instruments, so we talk about the rhythms. And, I asked them for permission, but I tried to, can I touch you? So we talk about rhythm and tapping and how you can increase, and so they can feel themselves one on this swim.
I love that. That's the last question.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes. It's now time for the takeaways. Maria, you and I have heard the takeaways are the best part of the show.
That's right, Kelly, because the takeaways are curated information, which is what we give to our clients when we coach them.
If you would like to take your performance to the next level in health, life, or leadership, go to our website and schedule your free 30-minute consultation.
Yes, just click on our coaching page and book there. We're looking forward to bringing out the champion in you.
And now, the takeaways. Okay, so Maria, I got to talk to the Yoda of swimming coaches.
He truly is Yoda. He truly is Yoda. I love talking to him.
Yeah, that was great. Sergio has so much, like you and I both made notes of like 10 things, but again, we just want a little couple of things here for each of us. What was your, you said it, Maria, what was the overarching theme of that interview and of Sergio?
Power of the mind. He was so expert, I would say, at talking about the power of visualization, of meditation. I was so moved by his visualization of his broken arm welding together. If you know what welding is, and I'm in the bike industry, so we weld. We weld the various parts of the frame together. We have them welded, and I know how that looks and how strong it is, and how quick it is. So what a great visualization, and picking powerful visualizations. He talked about colors, which I thought was a great, breathing, in lightness and colors, and just, so I think, if there's one thing that I think he has a lot to offer his swimmers and the rest of us is this: remember how powerful your mind is in everything.
Yes. Very, very good stuff. And you and I love meditation. We love the mental side of the game, and not as many, not as many people are as detailed as he is. I think most of our champions definitely use visualization. They see themselves winning and they do a lot of that, but that was just a great description, like you said, with the colors and the underwaters and all that. Yeah, I love that. So I think another theme that I felt like was kind of the overarching again too was Sergio is not just training athletes, he's training people for life. And I really love that. And one of the examples that he gave was don't lose sight of who you are. And his specific example was with Joseph Schooling, who is just, in Singapore, he's the Michael Phelps. He is, has billions of followers, and he's so amazing there that he might lose sight of himself, but having a coach like Sergio is certainly helpful. And we can scale that down to any of us, little people in the world that, don't lose sight of who we are at our core. It's important to, earn things and make things and do things.
Win.
And win. But I think knowing who we are at our core, and that's something I just started with a new client in coaching, and I, send them the intake questionnaire that we always send. And one of the questions is, who are you? What is the title that you give yourself? And, someone who's an Olympic gold medalist might think, oh, I'm an Olympic gold medalist, but maybe at the end of the day, they're a father, or they're a mother, or they're, a brother, whatever. But it's more, those accolades are great, and achieving is great, and having our checklist is great. Mm-hmm. But really who we are. So don't lose sight of who you are. I love that was kind of the first one.
And he talked a lot about that. In the end, we're human, we're people, we live in relationships. So that's a great point.
Yeah. And with that, I want to add on to that, but life is simpler than we think it is. That kind of goes hand in hand with, life is just really, let's get out in the sunshine. Let's get out and connect with other people. And so what, if you don't make the Olympic team, if you don't, earn the $1 million, or you don't drive the shiny car, whatever, it's just, life's pretty simple.
Yeah. He said, you're born, you live, you die. And that is really true. So we may as well just have today and be that person today, enjoy today. I loved how he was so, he loved music. He loved to eat. He just seemed, he talked about his passion,
when we talked about pizza, that just like,
this is a guy who lives passionately. I thought he was really beautiful for that reason. Yeah. So the second thing that I took away, he mentioned it a couple of times, and I'm going to probably put more meaning into it than he meant, but he said, when something bad happens, cry for 5 minutes and then get on with it. He said, he talked about it for himself when he didn't do well in a meet or in a practice, cry for 5 minutes and then get on with it. But he also uses it with his athletes, with other people he mentors. The thing about crying for 5 minutes and getting on with it is it acknowledges both that when you have something difficult or you have a loss, you acknowledge it. It hurts. Have a little emotion. Experience that. Experience the emotion. Cry for 5 minutes or whatever it is. Sometimes it can be a day or whatever. Maybe it's 6 months. you have to experience the emotion, but then you must move on because life is short. You're born, you live, you die. And so I loved that. Cry for 5 minutes. That's going to be kind of a little mantra for me. It's like, yeah, cry for 5 minutes and then move on. Let's just move on.
Maria, you're talking to a Parker. You're married to a Parker.
That's
No, we're stoic. We do not feel emotions.
Yeah.
We are not going to that. So that's a deep one for me because I think my tendency is to just say, oh, something was really disappointing. And I just buck up, camper. There's no crying in swimming. There's no crying in baseball. Just move on. So I think that's a really good one, especially today, in this, when there are some things that are disappointing and you just, so I love it. I love that one. So my second one is really, I said it on the show and I think it is it's so high impact for me because at whatever I do, I want to be 100%. I want to do 100%. I want to get everything done on my checklist. I want to have 100% of my workouts. I want to, I just want to be at 100%, but maybe on some days, for whatever reason, you're not feeling well, you have a virus, you didn't get a good night's sleep, you have a heavier workload. You might have just had a big travel day. I know you just traveled from Florida up to Massachusetts, so today, if you're rating yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and a 10 is, is where you want to be generally, maybe a 7 is your 100% today. So I think that's in other words, it could just be give yourself a break. Give yourself, don't be so hard on yourself. And I think we are our worst enemies often. We talk to ourselves negatively and, that workout stunk, or I didn't get everything that I wanted done today.
Right.
So that one really spoke to me.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too. I think that's, you're absolutely right. That's important. So another terrific interview. These coaches are so full of wisdom. It was really, really great. Great to talk to Yoda.
Yeah. Yes. All right, Maria, have a great day. Love you so much.
All right. Love you too.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Champions Mojo podcast with host Kelly Palace and Maria Parker. Champions Mojo is produced by Cabra Media, and a new episode debuts every Tuesday. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Follow Champions Mojo on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @Champions Mojo.